I knew this was trouble when I saw it. Shame on me that I didn't make a bigger deal of it than I did. This is pretty good, right? Pair of nuts singing that ain't too bad, right? Oh, oh, trouble, trouble, trouble. Not too bad, Okay, so because this is how stupid things are, all right? I went out last night with my wife and our friends at a restaurant, and they had this at the restaurant. Okay? They were passing these out. You see what it says? It says minimum wage summit. I like this what I can do my camera instead of not screencast, so I don't have to like rush when I speak because I don't have to race a clock. So it's probably a long-winded video because I got a lot to tell you. So I'm going to show you this. Minimum Wage Summit. I'll just read it to you, okay? Minimum Wage Summit. Brought to you by the Troy, Maryville, St. Jacob Marine Chamber of Commerce. This is in Illinois. Worried about minimum wage laws that go into effect January 1st, 2020? I'm Ron Burgundy. This summit will help you ease your stress on the upcoming laws. The Troy, Maryville, St. Jacob Marine Chamber of Commerce is taking the lead on providing general information and resources on the new minimum wage law, help you understand how to comply with the law and the exceptions, develop a strategy on an individual basis with our members, customizing solutions for your business by offering assistance. And if you look at it, you can pay $50 for chamber members, $25 for additional tickets, and then $75 for non-members. So the Chamber of Commerce is saying, hey, are you concerned about how you're going to make money as a business? Well, hey, buddy, come on over here and pay us $50, $75, whatever, and we'll tell you how you won't have to worry about that anymore. See, that's why it don't matter to me about this Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January. Like, I think everything's going to change that weekend. You know, the dollar gets reset, devalued, whatever the case may be. Because in January, this in Illinois, this minimum wage law takes effect. And I've heard different versions of it, but I don't know where this is coming from. But anyway, either way, it's happening, all right? And this is how I have understood how it's going to happen. I've heard it's going to happen faster than this, according to some other people, but it doesn't matter. It's happening nonetheless. So what I'm telling you is apparently a long-winded worst case scenario or whatever, or a longer extended time, because from what people are saying, it's going to be quicker than this. I don't know, but here's what I heard. January 1st of 2020, the minimum wage will raise from $8.25 to $9.25. And then 6 months later, in July of 2020, it will raise to $10 an hour. And then in 2021, it will raise to $11 an hour. And then in 2022, it will raise to $22 an hour. And it raises raises by $1 every year till it gets to $15 an hour in 2025. These companies can't pay that. We've tried it on both coasts now, east and west. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So there are a lot of business closures around here. Whenever I started my new job in March of this year, my boss, my manager, the guy that hired me, whenever he hired me on, told me that come January, he doesn't really know what's going to happen. So this is my new job, and this guy is sitting across the table. Super nice dude, love this guy. You know, this guy's great. It's not his fault. It's not like he's the one creating the laws. But all of our fault that we were up against this, though. And he says, you know, I'm sure you've heard the minimum wage law, and very big smile on my face. Yes, very excited for it. And he says, you know, not sure what's going to happen come January. We're just going to have to wait and see. And that's great. You know, talk about uncertainty, you know. But been prepared for this very well, can't wait. So I know things in Illinois are going to get very interesting. And then plus, there are a lot of people that are already pissed, because there are a lot of people like, I deliver auto parts. It's what I do. And so there are certain mechanics around here specifically, including the shop across the street from our store, that they're very pissed off because some of them have been there doing that shit for like 10 or 15 years, working their ass off, trying to get to, and just got to $13 an hour. Now you're going to have Joe Blow nobody right off the street, right out of high school, whatever, not even out of high school, is going to make $13 an hour. And here's the thing, if you were to have a, just say, married couple, man and woman, live together, do the math yourself. That's what I did. It's real simple. That's why I've been trying to tell people. It's not a political problem, people. It's a math problem that we have. If you were, and this is not going to happen because they're not all the companies are not going to schedule anyone 40 hours. But this is what I'm saying. I'm just saying. 2 burger flippers at McDonald's would make $57,600 because 15 times, you just do it yourself. $15 an hour times 40 hours a week times 4 times 12 times 2. 2 burger flippers at McDonald's will make $57,600 a year or something like that. That's pretty incredible. So you can imagine that people are pretty pissed off about this, and and besides, and this is the fun thing too. We've talked about this, right? How they're currently bailing out the banks. In the last video that I made, that the deadline was set to October 10th, where they were going to quit pouring billions of dollars into the banks on a daily basis. That's already been extended to November 4th. Already. So, this is kind of how I handle it with people. And it's amazing, because you would think that people would want to know this. You know what I mean? You would think like, hey, did you know that right before the financial crisis, the banks, or excuse me, the president and their whole ideas, well, doesn't matter. They were in cahoots together. Everybody's in cahoots together. Everybody's in the same plan, right? Having fun, having a little club, their little gang. They're all going along with it, right? But they're asking for these negative and low interest rates, pumping money into the markets, pumping money into the banks. Here we are doing the same thing. Like, wouldn't you think that people would want to know and be interested in knowing, like, hey, did you know that right now, the same stuff that was happening directly before the 2008 financial crisis is happening right now? Like, that they're actually right now having to bail out the banks, and they were going to do it for just a few weeks, and now I got pushed off for months because that's supposedly how good things are. They're saying that the unemployment rate's at a 50-year low, but for whatever reason, we're acting like it's not because the president is asking for 0 rates or lower and is asking for more free money. The same thing that was done in 2008 to supposedly stifle and fix the crisis. You would think that people would be interested because a lot, like their pensions, their 401ks, their IRAs, majority of that stuff, if not all of it, is all tied up in the stock market. So their entire future is all tied up in this stuff that they know nothing about, and they're like, why should I? Who cares? Like, none of this shit makes any sense, everybody. It don't. Pretty wacko. So it's going to be, so to me, it doesn't matter if this crazy weekend happens on the 12th, 13th, and I think it's 12th and 13th. Doesn't matter. It's that middle week of January. I've shown you 1,001 times. January 12th would be that weekend, because I think that's a Sunday. But they would start on that Friday before, like shutting the banks down and doing all that stuff. But yeah, right. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if anything happens with that or not, because it's going to be interesting enough for me. And besides, like I've been telling you, and here's the other thing too. Hey, where's this trade deal? Remember, I've been telling people since before April, but I think I've got it documented at least since April on this channel, that by the way, these trade wars are supposedly easy to win. And by the way, China and Trump have all year long continually said, here it's coming, trade deal's coming, trade deal's coming. And I have told you at least, I've been saying it since at least February of this year. I've been saying it now, documented since April. No trade deal is coming this year. Here we are, guys. We've been promised all year that was going to happen, especially even now. It was like back in August, they said, October is going to be a deal. Now what? Where is it? Where is this trade deal? It's not going to be here this year, like I said it won't, right? Where is it? Not wrong about that, huh? Because you know why? Because I think that stupid deal is the one where they're going to reset the shit and devalue everything. It doesn't matter. Where's the deal? It's not here. Yep, art of the deal, art of the deal. It'd be crazy if that really happens, man. Those guys come out. Like, oh, we made a deal of the century. Art of the deal, art of the deal. Now everything is in America is devalued by 40%. And this is the thing, the dude don't even want the dollar. Trump hates the strong dollar. He bitches about it every day. He says, let's devalue it. Let's devalue it. It's too strong. I don't like it. Let's devalue it. Let's devalue it. Look at all these countries around the world. Everybody else is devaluing it, Jerome Powell, but we're not devaluing. Look at everybody else is doing it, Jerome, but we're not devaluing the dollar. We're not devaluing our currency. We're not devaluing our standard of living. We're not devaluing our dollar. We're not devaluing our currency. Everybody else is, Jerome. Everybody else is, Jerome. Everybody else is devaluing their currency, but we're not devaluing our currency. We want to devalue the dollar. I don't like the strong dollar. I want a devalued dollar. That was just this year. Is about how many times. I think he said it more than that. But so the president even wants that, people. I don't know why. And this has happened before. And that's it's killer to me. 1930s, man. Not even like 100 years ago. Not even like 300, 400, 500, 600. It was just, golly, man. Like, wow. Really? And somehow it's just completely out of the realm of possibility. When I've even shown you an article from like 2012 where the Federal Reserve said they had a plan to devalue the dollar by like 40% over a 20-year period. Like, it's their plans. They've said it is their plans. It was reported in the Wall Street Journal. I've shown you that. Just Google it yourself. It's like 2012, Wall Street Journal, Federal Reserve plan to devalue the dollar over a 20, 30-year period, something like that. You'll find it. It's on one of my videos anyway. It's somewhere around there. So on to this thing you're looking at here. Because I want to make this stuff relatable for you. Because I thought this would be a fun way to do this stuff. What's happening in the stars. Okay, and another thing with the Saturn and Pluto conjunction on January 12th, 2020. Alright? Besides Pluto making its full circle on the whole sign, the solar whole sign calendar. Pluto making a full circle since 1776 around that time. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, January 12th, 2020. That I've shown you the history of what happens even on oppositions, even when Saturn and Pluto are on complete opposite sides of each other. It's crazy. But not only that, I just found this out. Tell me this ain't wild. This conjunction will be the first time in 500 years. You hear that? 500 years. The first time in 500 years that Saturn and Pluto are going to conjunct and meet in that sign. 500 years. It's wild. So anyway, I want to show you how what happens in the stars plays out down here on Earth. Okay, so it's reflection. It's all a reflection. As above, so below. So check this out. I'm going to prove it to you. Scorpio. All right, you see the date? Scorpio rules from October 23rd to November 21st. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. Pluto, another name of Pluto is death. But it's not like you don't have to be all scary and all that shit because you can't have rebirth without death, right? Another name for Pluto is transformation, but it is death. Okay, so it rules from October 23rd to November 21st. Well, that's pretty wild because October 31st is Halloween. Like, that's when we celebrate death. That's when we do the undead and, well, undead. You know, zombies, Dracula, vampires, all that shit, right? Okay, then you go to Sagittarius, November 22nd to December 21st. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is expansion. Jupiter is another way of saying do it big, overspend, overeat. Wow, the exact time frame of when we have Thanksgiving and we're leading up to the holidays where everybody's spending their ass off, everyone's eating their ass off, everyone's overdoing it. right? And then what happens after that? You go to Capricorn. December 22nd and January 19th. Capricorn ruled by Saturn, also known as the teacher, also known as karma, also known as the disciplinarian. Right? And so then what happens January 1st? Capricorn is contraction. Jupiter is expansion. Saturn is contraction. Right? So then that's what we're going to do now. It's January 1st, New Year's resolutions. I'm going to keep myself in check. I'm going to cut back. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do this. And that's all ruled by Saturn, because that's the disciplinarian side of you. That's the shit like, okay, let's get it done. So you literally live this shit out. Like straight up, right? Especially right now. It's all a reflection. So the Saturn and Pluto meeting in January, whether something big happens that weekend or not, it means something. Venus finishing its dance of the pentagram in June of next year means something. And the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction in December means something. Because it's all playing out right now. So I just wanted to show that to you. It's just going to be interesting, everybody. It really is. I can't wait. And this was just this was hilarious. I saw this. Oh man, it sparked this big discussion. And man, people just don't get it. They just don't get it. This guy at the table that was saying that people are going to make more, so they're going to spend more, and it's going to go right into the businesses. So this is like people are making a big deal out of nothing, and it was great. Like I was able to I don't know if anyone really listened or not, but you know everybody seemed to, and kind of explain how that wasn't going to work, and there are no examples of that working. And look at the coast, how it doesn't work in New York, it does not work in Seattle, because all they're going to do is cut the hours, and it's going to make everything just as difficult, if not worse. And it's not even that, it's just the debt. And I explained to them how in 2024 we don't make any more money, that everything we make goes straight to interest, that this country makes no more money in 2024. And so it didn't matter if it was Democrat or Republican, because this guy is sitting there talking about, oh, we need to get as many Democrats in there as we can because the Republicans have spent. I said, no, it's not what happened at all, because now we're doing the same thing. Barack Obama and Donald Trump are demanding and asking and begging the same thing from the Federal Reserve. And I pulled out these because we had the cash for the tip on the table, and I pulled out some of the dollars that was on the cash of the table. I said, you see this thing? You see how it says Federal Reserve note on it? Did you vote for the president of the Federal Reserve or the chairman of the Federal Reserve? And I put it around the table. Did you vote for the chairman of the Federal Reserve, the president of the Federal Reserve? Did you vote for the chairman of the Federal Reserve? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And then one of my wife's friends literally said no, because I don't even know who he is. And I said, exactly. So there's the guy. We're using their money. It's not the United States government money. It's the Federal Reserve money, just like it says on the money you're using right now. And Trump, just like Obama, are asking the same thing from this same bank. So, but nobody can answer that because they don't know what they're talking about. And it's not their fault. I don't think the guy's dumb or anything. It's like, no, it's not going to work. And this was what's crazy. This is a true story. I'm even going to read this text to you. All right? So this is from my wife's friend. I mean, she's my friend too, but my wife met her first because they work together. She goes, because it was her birthday last night. So she texts me this after we get back. She goes, hey, thanks for coming out tonight and celebrating with me. I hope you realize how smart I think you are and how much I do think you know so much about the crooked government. And sometime when we have nothing but time, I'd love to hear more. All right, now this is the first time we've known her since 2011. It's the first time ever that I've ever heard anything like that from her. And the reason why that is because there's nothing. I had a friend the other day, man, like, hey man, what's happening? Thanks for watching as always. Thanks for talking to me. Thanks for being there. I really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you. So this guy's even telling me, so, in the last 2 years, your videos have never been more bang on, and they haven't. And that's what's happening. Is it's pretty crazy. So there really are people that are actually like these. It's crazy that when we get together and I don't bring it up. Like, they bring the shit up, and then if it comes to me, because I know how crazy this stuff sounds, but if you just let me talk, you'll see it makes sense. And if you look around and pay attention, you'll see it makes sense. You'll see it's mathematically impossible that, and especially for a country that doesn't believe in God, it's expecting a miracle. And that's the truth, because there are no historical examples of anything working out in a situation like this. And we're not even talking about the Jeffrey Epstein shit. Jesus, let's not even go there with that. That's a whole other, just obvious that we're getting scammed. But these people, but they've known me since 2011. So when they've known what I've said, and you can't argue it. That's how I handle things now, because it's fun, because it's true. See, we can argue, that's fine. We don't have to agree or argue on what this stuff means. But if you're saying that I didn't say this stuff was going to happen months, weeks, years ago, then that is untrue. That makes you a liar, because I have this, that, and the other. That's why I have this stuff documented. I never wanted to start it I wasn't trying to create a following or anything like that. I really was hoping to try to help and turn this place upside down and stop the elections. And I really thought that I was going to help do that, but I didn't realize how stupid that was. But it was also to document, to say, hey, look, and it's not to listen to me, listen to you, listen to above, listen to our mother and father and our brother and all that shit that's inside you, that was born with you, that was put in there. Because Jesus, our brother, who cares what his name is, quit worrying about. God is a word on the back of the dollar bill. Don't say that. I'm sorry, I can't tell you what to not say and say. I'm just telling you, it's your family. Listen to me, it's just your family, all right? And our brother said, you are the light of the world. Not skin, not flesh. You are the light of the world. All right? So just be the light. Shine. And so that's how I handle things. And it works. Because I can say, yeah, look, I said the impeachment was going to happen in October. Doesn't matter what year, it's in October, and it was 6 days off, because it's all based off this shit. So no, I said there'd be a fire, or not a fire, I said there'd be some kind of, maybe I even watched the video, I don't even know, I haven't watched it recently, or I haven't watched it since I made it last year. April 15th-ish, some big event happened, or will happen probably from, I gave a week time frame, because of all the shit that happens in April. And that was in 2018, and then look what happened this year. April 15th, the Notre Dame fire. So I don't care. If I told you that your house was going to, if I told you your house was going to burn down in from April 15th to April 22nd on 2022, and it didn't, but then on April 15th, 2023, it burnt down, you'd be looking at me funny. So it's really great. It's really nice to be able to do this now. Hey, we don't have to agree on what this stuff means, but if you're saying that I didn't say this shit, you're wrong. It makes you a liar later. And let me see where you said anything like this. Let me see your research. Let me see what you've discovered. Let me see what you said. Let me see the kind of shit you've been posting on social media. Let me see. You don't know who Jerome Powell is. You don't know who the president, or the chairman of the Federal Reserve is. You don't even know what the Federal Reserve is. Why am I talking to you? You don't know history? Man, this is a true story. Whenever I was in college, in 2000, I was in a history class. And in the history, I'm not making this up, man. This is so crazy. And it was nuts to me. It blew my mind, because whenever I was in school, growing up in elementary school, we had a puzzle that was all the 50 states. And I loved that thing, and I played with it all the time. So I knew the states back and forth. I was a college student, and the history teacher got so fed up with the students not knowing where their state was and where the states were in the United States, that we had to take a test before we really could even get started with anything else, because it was so pathetic how no one even knew what states were where, and even a lot of them didn't even know which state they were in and where it was. So why am I even having a discussion? That's stupid. It's happening above, it's happening below, because all this stuff is inside us. It's all made up of the same stuff. whether you believe in the Big Bang, whether you believe that we were created by our mother, whatever you believe. The stars, all this stuff was here before us. It's way older than us. That's why we're not going to figure this stuff out, like the ins and outs of it, because it's something way older than us. Like, we're not going to know everything. But, so we're on their clock. We already are. I'm making this video on Sunday, and that's what it's ruled by, is the sun. It was never called Sunday until not that long ago. Just like it was never called Monday for the longest time. It was the moon, and then Mars, and then Mercury. All came from that stuff, people. It sure did. It's all reflection. And since we're going into Halloween, it's what, vampires, they don't have a reflection because that's what these psychos are. They're vampires and they don't have a reflection because they can't see anything, whether they don't have a soul or it's just so far cut off and buried and with all that greed and just the dark stuff that they do. But they have no reflection because they can't see anything other than what they got going. They can't see it any other way. You'll never see them get in nature. You'll never see them get in a room by themselves and just sitting there and reflecting and think about what they've done and what they're doing. Because it takes a special kind of person to do what these people do. Whenever I was in the military I spent 6 months in Djibouti, Africa, and to have like little kids, young people, little kids, whenever we'd go out like out of base and shit, and you'd stop anywhere, and they would see us, these little kids would come up with their arms outstretched, like asking for anything, water, anything. And so whenever you have, like, you see these stories of, like, the Clintons driving around or flying around, and they go and they visit these countries, and they see this stuff, like the Clintons, they went to Haiti, where the place was all destroyed by that earthquake all those years ago. And so when they go out there, man, and they see these people, and they hug them, and they pretend like they care, while they're wearing, like, a $50,000 ensemble, a suit and tie and all that shit, and it doesn't even matter. It's their... they do all that shit and then they get on their private jet and it takes a special person to do that, man. It takes or not a person or soul at all. Like, it really does. Cause that shit, you know what I mean? Like, I'll always remember that, and that'll always be a reminder. So they have no reflection because they just can't or won't stop, think, and reflect. All right, I think that's good. See, this was nice about the camera stuff because I don't have to worry about racing against the clock. Okay. Yeah, this will be fun, man. We'll see what happens between now and then, and yeah. It's going to be interesting January, I think, regardless. Well, at least for me in Illinois and anyone in Illinois. My mom's even like, I don't know why these places are shutting down. This place, Charlie's in Springfield, we love that place, and it was always busy, but I don't know why it's shutting down. Yeah, it's just wow, it's a mystery. Man, I wish there were answers to these things. It's a shame.